I'm Rabbi Janet Madden. I'm a hospice rabbi, a hospital rabbi, and I do a lot of funerals. I also do a lot of grief counseling for people who have had bereavements. And it occurred to me that while we have Kriya, the custom of ripping our clothing upon a death, what we don't really have is a way to address stitching our lives back together. So we're going to do a little bit of weaving, and I first invite you to take a moment and think about who you would like to memorialize. This could be a person, it could be a pet, it could be someone or some being that has made a big impact on your life and that you think about often. And then I invite you to just take a moment and look through the colors and figure out what colors seem to speak to you in this moment in your grief. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, but what we're going to do is produce a piece of fabric that's kind of a replica of the fabric of our experience. This is a simple project to do. You can purchase cardboard looms at any craft store, and from those looms you just need, I prefer cotton yarn. You just need a plain yarn that's going to have some stretchable quality to it. You string your loom. This is called the warp. It's the up and down. And then as you take the other yarns and weave in, this is called the weft, and this is where you go from side to side. You could also, if you want, use a picture frame and put some nails in it at intervals and weave right into a frame so that your piece is already framed. You could even take a chopstick or something else and put it in here to be something to hang it with, so it's very individual and very personal. We're going to just lop off a length, and it doesn't really matter what length you lop off. There's some really beautiful texts in Torah that make me think a lot about this process. One of them is that my days are like the weaver's loom and my ends are cut off. And there's something about the work of your hands, memorializing someone you love, that I think it's unique and I think it's personal in ways that other things just are not. So weaving is uneven. It's not necessary to try to produce a perfect product. It's really necessary to go slowly and mindfully and think about what it is that you want to achieve. So you're going to just take your first piece of thread, like this, your first piece of yarn, and you're going to set up a pattern where you go over and under and over and under every other string that is strung on your loom. And to facilitate that, I'm going to give you a pair of chopsticks. And you're going to use your chopstick like a little beater. Once you've pulled it through, you can push up your threads. This is about the process. There's no correct way. You can choose to let bits of your string show. You can weave one color on one side and one on the other so that you actually end up with a hole in the middle. You can go from tight weaving, which might represent the tightness of your grief, to a softer weave and a softer color and a softer texture that kind of represents perhaps how you feel in the process. This could be something that you want to achieve during Shloshim. It could be something that you want to do for a year. It could be something that you want to do whenever you feel that you have the time and the energy and the wherewithal to just sit and think about your loved one.
Do I need to tie this at the end?
You do not need to tie it. So we're going to leave these loose ends. You may decide you always want to have loose ends. You may decide that you want to weave those into the back and tie them off. But for the moment, we're going to leave those loose ends. Think of this as like a relationship. It has its ins and outs. It has its, sometimes things go quickly, sometimes things go slowly. And as you think of the person or the pet that you're weaving for or about, just think about this as a meditative process. This is a gentle process, almost like having a conversation with the threads.
So I just loop around this
Just
last
loop around,
one.
right. So when you get to the end of the row, you're going to want to go either over or under, depending on how you started, to hold that. So the next time you're going to go in the opposite direction. And this is why you don't need and you don't want to have an entire ball of yarn with you, because it's too hard to get it through. We don't have a real big loom with that can manage lots and lots of threads. So pull it a little bit and then just go ahead and keep it soft, keep it gentle, like your memories.
Thank you, Janet. I'm really looking forward to continuing to work on this piece. And, for those of you who don't know, Bim Bam, this channel has a lot of resources about grief and Jewish mourning and death and dying and a lot of things like this that we discover through dialogue with you, the audience, make it onto the camera. So we hope you'll stay engaged, leave us notes in the comments, share photos of what you're working on, and we'll see you in another video.